General Threx had fought in 6 wars across 3 star systems. He'd never lost an argument in a war room. That day, he lost one to silence. It was the Joint Fleet Academy's annual survival trial, the one event every species dreaded and every species respected. Cadets were dropped on a hostile training moon with nothing. No weapons, no rations, no signal beacon. Just themselves, for 72 hours. The Vekari were the favorites that year. Insectoid, 6-limbed, able to survive in vacuum for short bursts and regenerate lost limbs within days. General Threx himself was Vekari, broad-shouldered, chitin-plated, a war hero twice over. The human entry is a formality, he told the review panel, barely glancing at the roster. Their species has no regenerative ability, no natural insulation, no claws. They overheat, they freeze, they starve twice as fast as anyone else on that list. He wasn't wrong about the biology. He was wrong about everything else. Her name was Cadet Naomi Reyes, 26 years old. Quiet. The kind of quiet that made other species uneasy, because they'd learned that loud things warn you and quiet things don't. Statistically, Threx said to the room, not to her, she will be the first extraction call, possibly within 18 hours. Reyes didn't argue. She just picked up her drop pack, empty, standard issue, and walked to the launch bay. The moon was called Ashfall 9. Toxic dust storms every 6 hours. Temperature swings of 80 degrees between day and night. Predators that hunted by vibration, not sight. Threx expected a distress signal by midnight. None came. By hour 24, 3 other species had already called for extraction. A Gorlan, 2 Drefts, and, embarrassingly, one of his own Vekari cadets, limbs frostbitten past regeneration. Reyes hadn't moved from the ridge she'd found on hour 2. She'd built a windbreak from loose stone. She'd wrapped her hands in strips torn from her own jumpsuit lining. She'd stopped drinking water she didn't need and started rationing it before anyone told her to. She's conserving, muttered Threx's aide, watching the thermal feed. She's not fighting the moon. She's just waiting it out. Threx said nothing. He'd expected panic. He got patience instead. Hour 40. A predator pack, 6-legged silent hunters called Grask, picked up her heat signature. 3 of them closed in under cover of a dust storm. The panel watched the feed in real time. Threx leaned forward, certain this was the moment. Reyes didn't run. She lowered her body temperature signature by pressing flat against sun-warmed stone, breaking the thermal contrast the Grask hunted by. She waited until the lead predator was 3 meters out, then threw a fist-sized rock. Not at it, but past it, into a shale outcrop that cracked and slid, burying the sound of her own footsteps as she moved. The Grask lost her in the noise. All 3. That's not survival training, Threx said quietly. Nobody taught her that. His aide checked her file. Civilian background. Search and rescue volunteer. 4 years. Mountain terrain. Hobbies. Long-distance solo trekking. Family history. 3 generations of wildland firefighters. She's been doing this her whole life, the aide said. Just never with a rank attached to it. Hour 68. Storm season peaked. Every remaining cadet had been pulled except one. Reyes walked into the extraction zone 4 hours before the deadline. Dust-streaked, dehydrated, her jumpsuit in ribbons, and still walking under her own power. Threx met her personally at the landing pad, which he had not done for any cadet in 11 years. You had no claws, he said. No regeneration. No armor. By every measure on my chart, you should have failed first. Reyes managed a tired smile. Your chart measures what we're born with, sir. It doesn't measure what we decide. Explain. Humans don't out-armor anything, she said. We never could. So somewhere back on Earth, a long time before any of this, she gestured at the stars. We learned to outlast instead. Cold, hunger, bad odds. We got good at just still being here when everything else gave up first. She looked at the ridge she'd survived on, now visible through the bay window, storm clouds gathering again over it. You didn't lose to a stronger species today, General. You lost to a species that's had 10,000 years of practice not stopping. Threx dipped his head. a Vekari gesture reserved for equals, rarely given to anyone outside his own kind. The Academy's survival curriculum will be revised, he said. Effective immediately. She nodded, shouldered her empty pack, and walked off toward the mess hall, already thinking about food and not at all about the war room now buzzing behind her. It wasn't until that night, reviewing her file for the official report, that Threx found a line buried under her civilian record. Survived house fire, age 9. Walked 2 miles for help despite second-degree burns. Refused evacuation until the rest of her family was confirmed safe. He set the tablet down and sat in silence for a long moment. She hadn't just survived Ashfall 9. She'd been training for it her entire life, long before anyone handed her a rank, a uniform, or a chart that said she shouldn't have made it.